This is a very important video, but you may have been tempted to skip over it. And maybe at this point that makes sense because you really haven't delved into the GRE much. But there's going to come a point, it may come very soon, when your patience is tested, where you just want to throw up your arms and say, okay, enough, I hate this expletive test. And you want to give up for that moment. And that's really what this video is for, is getting you through those moments. Now, my hope, of course, is that we have an excellent product here that allows for as few of those flustered moments as possible. Nonetheless, you're still going to need a lot of patience when you're doing GRE prep. And it's not just because maybe you haven't seen math in 10, 15 years, or vocabulary words scare you, but maybe even English isn't your first language. It's the fact that you're going to put in a lot of effort and a lot of time, and you're not necessarily going to see results right away. And of course, nobody wants to hear that. If you let's say you want to get in a good shape, you want to have big muscles or be really lean, the last thing you want someone to tell you is, well, you have to follow my workout, but you're not going to see results at first. You want to say, no, I want the quick fix. The GRE, though, there really is no quick fix. There's going to take a lot of patience. And what you're going to notice is that you will finally improve, but it's going to be more of this plateauing. And what I mean by that is, well, you start off here. The higher up you go, the higher your score. First, you're going to get a little bump. The brain gets a little bit of exposure to the GRE, and you're feeling good, but then you kind of hit this wall, and there's that plateau. And I'm, by the way, a horrible artist. That's about the worst straight line in history, but there we go, somewhat better. What this means is this axis is time. You go on for a while, a week, 2 weeks, not improving. And it's at this point that you're going to need patience, because you will suddenly improve. You're going to go up a little bit, a few points in math, a few points in verbal. You're going to get better, but it's going to be a process like this, plateauing. Unfortunately, it's not a whoop. Otherwise, everyone would do very well on the GRE. Now, something else, when it comes not necessarily to patience, but I guess it does tie into patience a little, but something a little more subtle. And it's the idea of learning from your mistakes. And of course, that almost sounds cliche. Oh, learn from your mistakes, do better next time. But in this GRE context, in the test prep context, learning from your mistakes is a lot more nuanced than that. And what I mean is, when you get flustered, when you can't solve a problem, the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the answer. You want to think, okay, well, what's the answer say? And oftentimes the answer is very illuminating. Hopefully, our video explanations in every case help you arrive at the correct answer. But the idea is, are you going to be able to avoid that same mistake in the future just because we gave you an explanation? Now, hopefully the explanation helped. At the same time, though, when you make a mistake, you should try to figure out what you did wrong. You should really dissect your thought processes so that you can next time say, aha, I'm going to do this instead of what I did the first time around. Now, part of this learning from mistakes is this idea of confusion. And of course, we all have confusion on the GRE or any standardized test. But the idea of confusion here is when you get to a certain point in a hard problem, maybe it's 30 seconds, maybe it's about a minute. About this point, feeling flustered, feeling confused, and you want to give up. Starting off, it's very important for you not to give up, not even to worry so much about the time. And I know it can be very stressful with Magoosh because we have these questions with the timer counting down, but you can hide that timer. You can allow yourself to kind of delve into the problem and understand what's going on. So this confusion isn't a bad thing. It's just an opportunity for you to figure out what this problem is about, to think at it at a deeper level, to try many possibilities. For instance, in math, if you're not sure how to approach the problem, how to get to the answer, try a few things, experiment. But it's when this confusion rears its ugly head, it's if you stop and give up. That's the problem. That's where this can maybe come back to patience. And it's working through that confusion and finding your answers that's really going to help you improve. And even if you don't get the right answer, going back to it and learning from your mistakes is going to be very helpful in this process. So if you're watching this video now and you're going to go and do all these GRE questions on Magoosh, you've yet to do so, remember this video. Maybe a month down the road, maybe even before you take the test. But I would definitely encourage you to come back here and see how these apply to your GRE journey, the point where you're at. And I'm sure at least one of these will. It's a good idea to come back here, of course, and apply this video to the difficulty that you're having with the GRE. Again, it's almost inevitable. I don't want to say, oh yeah, just watch all these videos. Everything will become really easy and you'll get a perfect score. No, not at all. Again, it's patience. There's going to be plateauing. That means it'll increase a little bit, but it'll take a while for you to hit the next plateau. Okay. Now, as far as kind of test management goes and the whole psychological component, there's a really big thing I'm missing out. I'd be totally remiss if I forgot to talk about managing stress the day of the test. Test day, during the actual test. This is what it's really all about. I mean, you could have the utmost patience as you go through the preparation for the test. You can work for 3-4 months and be really ready, and then you get to the test and stress unravels you. And I've talked to many people, had many students over the years who this is a problem. So, what can you do? Well, a few things. First off, breathe. It seems like the most simple thing possible to imagine, but it can really help. Because what's going to happen is you're going to feel a knot in your stomach, just as if you're about to go on stage and talk to 2,000 people. Those same butterflies, that same knot, it's going to be there. If you breathe from your stomach, kind of low down, deep breaths, not so much from your chest and lifting up your shoulders, this is going to help stabilize the natural panic response you're going to have test day. And trust me, it is inevitable. The panic response will rear its ugly head. So definitely breathe, learn how to breathe, and in essence, prepare yourself for battle by doing mock tests. Can't recommend this enough. Mock tests are something you can take on our website. We have Magoosh mock tests. You can take the mock tests that ETS provides. Those are the people who actually write the GRE. And so this is great because you're going to notice your pulse quickening. You're going to feel flustered. You're going to want to run or leave wherever it is you're taking the test. But the idea is if you can learn these coping mechanisms during the mock test, it will better prepare you for test day. So that's it as far as stress goes and the psychological component, but I don't want to underestimate this. This is a big part of doing well, is not just the discipline, not just following the Magoosh videos and learning, but really that patience. And if that voice is that doubtful voice, I should probably mention the doubtful voice, says, oh, I can't do it, at any point, whether it's right after you watch these videos and try a few questions, or if it's actually test day itself, oh, I'm not good at this, learn to ignore that voice. Think in terms of what have you learned about the techniques, what have you learned about the concepts, what have you learned about pacing. Should you be doing a very difficult question? Maybe not. The doubtful voice is just saying, I'm not good at it. Well, you're actually doing one of the most difficult questions. Skip it. Each question is worth the same. Again, learning to cope, deal with these issues before the test, during mock tests, is your best way to prepare for test day.